Morning. Oh, it's so nice to be back in Sacramento after 6 days in San Diego for our annual BCA National Council meeting last week. Reverend Patty also came with me, and she again organized a Young Leaders Today seminar that ran simultaneously with the National Council meetings. And today she's up in Placer again, taking care of the Placer Buddhist Temple Dharma School, so she's unable to join us. But we both really feel it's so good to be home. Thank you again for Team Betsuin taking care of the home front, especially to Sensei Grace for helping in our absence with the loss of Mrs. Yamamoto, and also to Sensei Koichi for speaking last Sunday. Today, as all of you know, is perhaps one of the most activity-filled weekends we've had in many years. It's because of the way the calendar, the weeks went. For the first time in a while, we have two major events happening in one day. We have our annual ABBA BWA Spring Food Festival, and we have our annual Betsuin Sports Program Basketball Tournament. So once again, we're able to enjoy a little elbow room here in our Hondo. And in spite of the activity, it is so nice to see so many of you here today. I can actually see faces, and instead of so many people, I often can't pick individuals out. But I will tell you most honestly that I do not look forward to attending the national conference anymore. These national meetings, I enjoyed being there with our President Gordon Nita and VP Alan Wu. We're able to, as a temple, register our continuing disapproval of BCA's what we call taxation without representation by voting no on the annual budget again. I have perfect record voting no annually. But although it passed once again without any real discussion, they have to see at least that they are not unanimously approved of and supported. Although the national membership has dropped 1,400 members in the past year, and although some temples are having a difficult time, once again it seemed as if there was no serious discussion on addressing the issue. Instead, there's a general sense of blind pride in what BCA once was. And this is being taped and going online, huh? But Patty knows well that I do not look forward to attending these meetings, and she's such a trooper. And together, always, we find a way to enjoy ourselves, pass the time, and somehow enjoy it. This year, there were two highlights. One was the Young Leaders Today organization or gathering that she organized. And with our Sammy and Matt Nita taking point and igniting this event, it was truly a most successful Young Leaders Today gathering. This was the one event I think I was looking forward to being a part of, being with the kids again, and there were some enjoyable reconnections and also some new friendships made. The second highlight of our 6 days in San Diego actually was going to a restaurant called the OB Noodle Restaurant and Sake Bar. We saw this restaurant on Triple D, diners, drive-ins, and dives on the Food Channel. Are you familiar with that? Yeah. It's on at night always, and I'm lying in bed watching that, and then I get hungry. But on this one episode of the show, Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, the host, Guy Fieri, visited this OB Vietnamese noodle restaurant. And in a rather long segment, he raved about the pho, the special house fried rice, and the spicy chicken wings. And, he takes time and shows how the broth is made. And, we were watching that and thinking, wow, we're going to be going to San Diego. We should think about going there. And I completely forgot about it. We flew into San Diego, rented a car, and packed up our luggage. And Patty had printed out the directions to the Obi Noodle restaurant. So we got there way past 2 o'clock. And so the lunch crowd should have been long gone. And this is a Tuesday. But it was still packed. The restaurant sat about 70 people max, and we were able to find a small table for 2. And what did we order? Those 3 things that Guy Fieri recommended that he tried. The pho, the house special fried rice, and the spicy chicken wings. Not long after we were seated, 2 guys came in and sat at a small table for 2 right next to us. And I would find out later one of them was from my hometown, San Francisco, and we smiled. Patty and I smiled when we heard them order the pho, the house special fried rice, and the spicy chicken wings. And we talked to them and said, you saw the show too, huh? But, it was really, really good. And Patty was surprised because, I'm not really big on pho. And I'm not really a huge spicy chicken wings guy. But I dusted that pho. And the broth was so good. And the chicken wings, well, I couldn't stop eating them. And it was the first time in my memory that we could not pick a favorite when we had 3 such different items. And when we were absolutely full, we kept saying things like this. Okay, this is my last bite. Oh, this is my last. Okay, just one more chicken wing. Huh? You get the picture. Well, the fried rice was really different, delicious. And Patty said that on the show, the owner said it was the sweet and savory sausage that his father made that made the dish so unique. And I thought, wow, that was a great way to start off our conference trip that I was actually not looking forward to being a part of. I think that I would have to rate that late lunch as among one of our most memorable meals ever. And when I thought about how memorable this was, I thought of our most memorable meal ever. But I'm going to save that for another time. But this delightful meal reminded me again that even within the events of our lives that we may wish to avoid and not be a part of, amazing and wonderful things can happen. Even though there may be some events happening that we don't care for, some wonderful things can happen. When I thought about how things somehow just work out at times, I thought about, how last year during the baseball season, the Giants lost their star second baseman, Marco Scudero. And then an amazing and wonderful thing happened when eventually Joe Panik was brought up to the Giants and they would go on to win the World Series. We never know what the future may hold. And in a way, I think this is a perfect description of what Buddhism calls karma. In Buddhism, we are encouraged not to judge the karmic events of our lives as being good or bad, right or wrong. Karma, as many of you have heard me explain before, is simply karma. Literally, it means action or activity. Karma is a word that describes all of the events and activities, the people and interactions, all of the causes and conditions that have made us who we are and create the life we are living this moment. There's a famous Buddhist parable that describes and captures the essence of karma and how it should not be judged. It is a parable that I've shared in our adult sessions before, and I'd like to share it this morning. It is said that there was once a farmer in China who awoke one morning to find that a very tame and very strong horse just standing outside of his house. It was as if the horse had chosen the farmer to be his friend. And with the help of this horse, the farmer was able to plow much more land and enjoy a much more profitable harvest. His neighbor, hearing about his good fortune, came over to congratulate the farmer and said, "How wonderful that this horse has come to you. Now your life will be so much easier and so much better." The farmer's reply, "We'll see, we'll see." Then the horse ran away. Upon hearing this, the same neighbor returned and said, "Oh, how unlucky that you've lost your horse." The farmer's reply, "We'll see, we'll see." Then the horse returned with many more horses following him. Again, the neighbor visited and remarked, "How truly fortunate your horse has come back, and not only that, brought more horses with him. Your life is truly blessed." And the farmer said, "We'll see, we'll see." Then, while breaking in these less tame horses, the farmer's son experienced a terrible fall, and his leg was broken very badly, so badly that he would, after that, forever have to walk with a limp. Hearing this, the neighbor visited and offered his condolences, and he said, "How terrible that your son has suffered such a crippling injury." The farmer said, "We'll see, we'll see." Not long after this, the emperor began conscripting young men to fight an invading army on the western frontier. But because the farmer's son had a bad leg, he was not taken to fight in the war, a war in which many young men died. The neighbor again came by and said, "How fortunate that your son was not taken to the fight in the emperor's army because of his leg." The farmer's reply was, "We'll see. Yeah, we'll see." This story tries to express what Buddhism calls karma, the events of our lives. And as I mentioned earlier, we are encouraged not to judge the events of karma. Not good, not bad, not fortunate or unfortunate. Karma is simply made up of all the events and activities, all of the people and interactions, and the causes and conditions that have made us who we are and create this life we are living. The difficult part is to live trying not to judge the circumstances of our lives as being good karma or bad karma. It is just our lives. Being born to live in this time and place, being a part of this Sangha, and being able to hear a teaching so reasonable and sensible as the Dharma is all a part of our shared karma. And although we are encouraged not to judge the karmic events of our lives as good or bad, and although I was not looking forward to that meeting of last week at the National Council meeting, I must admit there were parts of the past karmic week that I thought were especially delicious. So I hope as we think about this message today that everyone will enjoy the karmic events of our lives, and although not judging them, perhaps just today you too might find something delicious in the karmic events of your life today at our BWA Abba Spring Food Festival. I know that they're working so hard out there, and although it is, I understand, pre-order only, I think there are some still available. So if you can help them out, I know they would appreciate it. This is their one and only fundraiser for the year. So thank you for coming this morning, in spite of all the activity, for you to take the time out and join us here today in the Hondo. In closing, please join me in Gassho. In Buddhism, we are not We are encouraged not to judge the karmic events of our lives as good or bad. Karma simply means action or activity. Karma is a word that describes the events, the people, the interactions, the causes and conditions that have made us who we are and create this life we are living today. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.